Episode 1 of Miami Dolphin Hard Knocks in the books. I took a lot of notes. There's some things that we're going to talk about. What is up, Finn fans? Like I said, episode 1 in the books. This is my third video today. So if you haven't yet, go check out the film breakdown and the power rankings, and also watch this one. It will make me incredibly happy to get these videos and views because I worked very hard today. Tomorrow, you're getting the preview for the Jets game, and you're getting the prediction video picks. And then Thursday, you're getting a special Thanksgiving video for me. And then Friday, I will see you live at like 2:45 with my father, live streaming the Dolphins taking on the Jets. But let's talk about episode 1 of Hard Knocks. Like I said, I took a lot of notes. I love the first thing that I noticed is they come out to their meeting and they're shooting basketballs, shooting hoops. They got a flipping basketball hoop in their meeting room. Absolutely love it. But what I love the most is Mike McDaniel addressing Hard Knocks. And Mike McDaniel, like, he hears what his players have to say. He obviously talked to his players and got the, listen, the owner wants to do this and blah, blah, blah. We need to stick together. But he came out and he said it. We're not going to let Hard Knocks, we're not going to let the distraction, we're not going to let what's happening right near change what we're doing, change the trajectory of where this team is going. Right now, they're sitting at 7-3. At the time of him talking, they were coming off the bye at 6-3, and he said that he's not going to let it happen. He refuses for the season to be tainted by Hard Knocks. Love it. Addressing the mentality of it, addressing the elephant in the room, and saying, we're not going to let this affect us. We're going to stay vigilant to the course, and we're going to win these flipping games. He says, shame on you if you don't bring it with the limited time they have left. So essentially, he showed how much practice and how much games they have played up to that point. And then he showed how much time, practice, and everything is left. And he's like, we're guaranteed 8 games. We're guaranteed 8 more games. Again, this is before the Raiders game. And, the playoffs aren't guaranteed. So we're guaranteed 8 more games and a certain amount of practice and a certain amount of times. And he said, don't waste that, essentially. Shame on you if you waste your potential, you waste your opportunity, and you waste those 8 games and falter. And I just love how, and it's just the passion he talks. Because a lot of people, when we signed him, are like, how is this guy going to, take over a room of NFL players, of guys that are bigger than him, blah, blah, blah. He did. He said what he had to say, and he said it really well. I was very, very happy about that. And I love the way it worked. And then we saw some practice clips. And I love how Wes Welker was amazed. He was talking, I think, to Tyreek. And he was like, the time that he threw it and then you caught it, like he was just amazed by Tua's anticipation on throws, but also on Tyreek's ability to get there and make the catch and then get the yak. And I'm telling you, this team is dangerous. And then they're in the quarterback room, right? They talk about the braids and, the Drake stuff and all that stuff. And then they're in the quarterback room and it's Tua, Skylar, and Mike and that quarterback coach. And Tua gets like excited. He's like, so when are we doing the Secret Santa? Can we do the Secret Santa now so I can get prepared? Because I like to be, I love Christmas. So to see Tua like getting all like jolly in his chair and he's like, when are we doing Secret Santa? I just had to jot that down because I thought that was hilarious to me. I wrote down puts receivers in routes. Okay. So, because I'm like, I'm literally watching and jotting. The thing I thought was so cool is how Tua talks about that what they do is they watch all the other teams and they watch the routes and the combinations that the opposing wide receivers are running, and they try to make routes and combinations that no one else is doing. And if you take that with the combination of the speed this team has, is why the pass game is so dangerous. And the way Tua talks about football and the way Tua talks about his love of the game and these understanding and anticipation, just absolutely love that. The camaraderie and the back and forth between Tua and McDaniel and McDaniel essentially teaching him and trying to have him understand to move on from the play. And a lot of times I think that's why when Tua throws an interception, when Tua fumbles, when Tua does something bad, that next drive he scores a touchdown, is because he's just, all right, it's out of my head, I'm going to move on. And they showed that in the practice where he was like, damn. And then he just moved on. And Mike McDaniel even noticed it, and he brought it up, and he talked about it. But he also Mike McDaniel talks about that he doesn't want Tua to take these things and affect his play. The biggest thing, and this was one of the biggest things that I took from the episode. This is like right in the middle of the episode before they started playing the game against the Raiders, is they were interviewing Mike McDaniel, and he talked about how seriously he takes these players' time, and how seriously he does not want to waste their time there. Because if you look at it, and I don't need to poo-poo other coaches, but like Charles, the outside linebacker that we drafted, and we forced him to be a defensive end, and he just did not work. And Charles Harris, and Adam Gase was like, he's got to fit our scheme, this isn't that. Mike McDaniel's doing the opposite. He doesn't want to waste these guys' times. He doesn't want to waste their opportunity here. Like, some people wanted to move on from Tua because they thought that we were going to waste the defense's time. Xavier Howard wasn't going to get younger, and all these other guys. And the fact that Mike McDaniel addresses that and says that he takes impacting the player's future extremely seriously, I love that, because a head coach can impact a player's future and a player's success in the NFL very easily. How many times does a quarterback go to one team and they just are complete crap, and then they go to another team and they're Hall of Famers? Kurt Warner, Brett Favre, Steve Young, So I love that he takes that incredibly seriously. Before the game, offensive linemen go out to dinner, and I think it was Robert Hunt. He's like, man, I'm out to dinner. No, it was Kendall Lamb. He's like, I'm out to dinner with my guys. I don't want to talk about this stuff. I want to eat and hang out with my guys. But Teron Armstead wanted to talk about Max Crosby, because going into this game against the Raiders, they showed how seriously they were taking Max Crosby. And I think it's awesome to the aspect that the quarterback's coach was talking to Tua. And we saw it in the NFL Netflix series where Max Crosby kept hitting Patrick Mahomes and was pissing him off and was getting in his head. The quarterback's coach was talking to him and warning him about that. He'll jab you, he'll push you, he'll nudge you, he'll get into your face. And so during practice, they had a guy put 98 on, and Tua kept telling him, look, after I throw the ball, still nudge me, walk by me, shoulder me, do all this stuff. And every time he did it, Tua would say thank you. He would say thank you. He would say thank you. So I thought it was really, really cool that they focused on that. Mike McDaniel was watching plays, and they picked out, okay, he's the disruptor of their defense, right? The rest of the defense is good, but Max Crosby, he could take over a game. You saw it against the Jets. So they really focused on him, and especially the offensive line. We're like, we need to make a point to not let him disrupt the game, and they didn't, and they did a fantastic job there. The defensive coach, I think it was the outside linebackers coach, they give out cakes for defensive performances, and Bradley Chubb got a cake, I think Seiler got a cake, and Phillips got a cake, and they get a cake with an image of the play they made. And I think it's hilarious. Bradley Chubb gave his cake to Xavier Howard, but I thought that was just so funny that they gave out cakes. Linebackers coach, what he said, now he was very passionate, and some of the stuff they made fun of him for, like going to Germany and speaking a different language, but universal language of the world is fighting. So, and like Xavier Howard and Tyreek Hill were laughing about that. But the one thing he said that stuck out to me was the amount of time that they're at training camp, they're practicing, they're in meetings, and then they play the game. He said, you're playing the game on Sunday for your family, for your loved ones, because of the amount of time that you're spending away from them. He was saying, don't waste that time. Don't disrespect your family. Give your full effort. Give all that stuff. And I love that, because you don't really think about it, right? You don't really think about it, especially when you're in sports, that if you, excuse my French, half-ass it on the field, What was all that time you were away from your family for? Give it your all on the field. And I absolutely love that. And then they showed the game. And Tua was chirping with Crosby. He was used to it. They implanted in his head the type of player Crosby is and how he has that psychological game to it. And he was chirping back with him. I know you want to get me. I know you want to hit me. I know you want to kill me today. And he was just chirping back with him. I love it. I love that Tua is not that timid guy anymore. Going right back at him. They showed that Tyreek Hill hurt his hand before the screenplay. But the screenplay aggravated it more. But he didn't want to come out. But it was hurting him. And then they went in the locker room. They probably, gave him something, gave him a shot, a cortisone shot or something like that. And then he came back out and he was fine. So I thought that was awesome. The touchdown drive with Savon Ahmed. Tyreek Hill was not on the field. So a lot of people want to say, how is Tua going to perform and how is Tua going to do if Tyreek's not on the field? Well, just watch that touchdown drive with Savon Ahmed. Marcus Peters, at the end of the game, said, don't let them get in your head. Essentially, the naysayers, the haters, all that stuff. Don't let them get in their head. But I will say this. And, in the post game, the coach said, not on Hard Knocks, but in real life, which is still real life, said that there's a miscommunication with that deep pass. But of course, Tua talked about how he could have made the pass better. He essentially said I should have let it outside more. He said he felt he let it too far north. He should have let it more to the sideline. I saw that because if you go watch the film breakdown from earlier today, I talked about that Waddle did undercut his route, but Tua kind of threw it deep. So I asked you guys who's at fault there. But even Tua said, I should have thrown it more towards the sideline, give him more of a shot to catch it and go up the field. And then after the game, you had Christian Wilkins dancing. Tua went around to all the defenders and said that they won the game for them, which they did. Because if not, it would have been a 14-13 final, and then they could have just kicked the field goal instead of trying to throw a deep touchdown pass. And Jalen Ramsey would have intercepted it. Tua went to the whole offensive, to all the wide receivers, and told them, I got to do better for you. And I love that accountability. I absolutely love him not only telling the defense that they won the game for him, but telling the offense, I need to be better for you. Regardless if some of the faults were at the offensive line, some of the faults with the receivers dropping the play, he just said, I have to be better for you. And he, like he said in the postgame, he keeps himself to a high standard. And I love it. I love that he's not complacent. Hey, I'm third in, passing yards and, this and that. He's very like, I need to be better. And he, like I said, he didn't have a bad game. Some people think he did have a bad game, but hey, you think what you want. I don't think he had a bad game, but he definitely needs to clean some stuff up. The offense as a whole, though, needs to clean some stuff up. The play calling, the blocking, and the passing, and everything as a whole. Defense is coming on, though. But to me, the bright spot, and I absolutely loved it, was Tyreek Hill's mom. Tyreek Hill is a miniature of his mom. He looks just like her, and unfortunately, they got the nachos spilled on him and stuff, his wife and his mother. But his mother's just so funny. She's going to be the star of Hard Knocks. I think it's hilarious. But that's episode 1 of Hard Knocks. You get an introduction to the Dolphins. You get an introduction to the relationship between Mike McDaniel and Tua and the quarterback's coach. You get an introduction of Tyreek Hill and his life, the defense. I love seeing the behind-the-scenes stuff. So comment below, what is your favorite part of today's episode if you saw it? Let me know. Tomorrow, like I said, you're going to get 2 videos tomorrow. Then Thursday, you're going to get a video. Friday, live stream. And then Saturday, Sunday, I'm going to breathe. Sunday night, you'll probably get a recap of the week, being that the Dolphins don't play. But comment below, let me know what you guys think, and I will see you tomorrow. But like usual, stay classy. Evans out.